Hey guys, Cloud here, and today I am in snapshot 23W07A, and I am here to tell you that Minecraft did not add right-click detection. And I know that a lot of you may be hyping this up, maybe even commenting as I speak or before this video even gets posted, but they did not add right-click detection. That is my argument here, and perhaps it will change in the future update. Perhaps they'll make it more accessible. But I really don't think they will, at least by the design of how this entity looks like its purpose is. That being said, it is not useless, and I will explain some use cases and make some videos in the future using it, assuming it doesn't change too much. But essentially what they did was they added an entity called interaction, and what it does is it makes this kind of bounding box that you see here. Now I have normal ones in front of me, but I also have some ones that have a modified width MBT, which makes the width really big, and a height MBT, which makes the height really small. So it's kind of like a plane. And what this allows you to do is if I do /data get entity, and I get that entity's data, you can see the MBT stored on it. So the MBT stored on it is attack, and you have response, you have interaction, you have stuff like timestamps and UUIDs. And so what this does is when you left click it, it will store who last attacked it and when they last attacked it with the timestamp. When you right click it, it will do the same. You can also have a response, which means when you right click it, some effect happens, and I think they might expand on that, or maybe it's just limited to being able to imitate stuff like attacks, like, have the little particles come off of it. But that's not super important. What everybody's going crazy about is saying we have right click and left click detection. So I made a data pack very quickly that implements the right click and left click detection. So let's take a look at it. So inside here, we have left click as an advancement and right click as an advancement. So what this does is it runs the player interacted with entity advancement, which is what you normally do when you're doing something like right click detection using a villager. And so you check if the entity was an interaction entity and run a reward function for right. With left click, you check player hurt entity. Then inside the functions, we have left, which removes the advancement and says the word left, and right, which removes the advancement and says the word right. And so as you might expect, if I right click on in the sky, nothing happens. But if I right click on one of these entities, it will say right. If I left click, it will say left. So where this is not a click detection is that first off, if I hold right click on one of these entities, you will notice that the speed it goes is not 20 tick. And so I can't use this for right-click detection like Ender Eyes. Ender Eyes are 20 hertz. This is 5 hertz. It can be faster if you spam it, which is almost worse because then it's not consistent. Then secondly, we have left click, and left click does not work for click and hold. You left click once and it only detects once, so you can't do click and hold. But if you spam it, it will work like normal. So as you can see, this behavior is very much like a normal hitbox in the game for a mob, which is fair, it makes sense. It works like a villager, right? And so all the rules still apply. So that is why I'm arguing that this isn't summon interaction, but it should be summon hitbox, because that is what this thing is. It is not an interaction entity, it is a copy or a mimic of a hitbox entity, and it behaves as such entirely. That doesn't mean that it's not useful. I know a lot of people will go straight to the point, and even myself will go straight to the point of why did they add this? I think that this is a very useful entity as a hitbox. They may add additional functionality, and I'll make a whole video on this entity itself. This is kind of just like a heat of the moment news update kind of video. But like, this is just initial thoughts on it. But in its current form, it still has some uses. So if you remember some of my older videos, they had something like doors, and what you would do with the door is you would put a villager in front of the door so that you can't open and close the door. Well, now you can actually put one of these interaction entities. So if I summon one like this, and I give it a height of 2 and a width of 1, you can see that I can no longer open the door. And what I can then do with that is on the right click detection, you check if they're holding a key, and if they're holding a key, then you kill the interactor, which allows them to open the door again. But again, this is not right-click detection, this is hitbox detection or custom hitboxes, and you're able to detect things on that hitbox, which again, has its uses. You can make a really big hitbox and place it over your spawn if you want to prevent anyone from interacting with doors or right-clicking on different things in your lobby, which is really another really nice use case. And I'll make separate videos on all these different things. But the flaw of it in its current state in terms of being used as right-click or left-click detection is it's not player-specific. So if I wanted to make this player specific, I would have to teleport it to the player's head so that they could always right click it wherever they are without other people interacting. And it also blocks interaction of any other kind. So if I'm inside one of these hitboxes, I cannot right click on things just like you saw there with the door, which is a good and a bad thing. It's good if this is supposed to be a hitbox. It's bad if this is supposed to be a right-click detection method. And so that is why I say that this is basically summon hitbox, not summon interaction. But that is kind of my argument. Let me know what you guys think about this new entity and what kind of possibilities you have for it in the comments below. If you like this video, please leave a like, and I'll see you next time. Peace.